I'm Dan Stanton, the editor and founder of BioProcess Insider, and I am delighted to be joined by Timothy Compton, the Chief Commercial Officer at Avid Bioservices. Timothy, welcome.
Thank you, Dan. Pleasure to be here.
To start with, Timothy, can you give us a brief overview of Avid's service offerings and capabilities, just to let my audience know?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're located in Compton, California, specifically in Orange County, California, about 15 minutes from the Orange County John Wayne Airport. There we provide standalone or bundled services in drug substance manufacturing, specifically mammalian-derived drug substances. We've been supplying products and development of products for the last 27 years, 15 of which have been commercial manufacturing that are marketed in over 90 countries. We currently have about 11,000 liters of installed capacity there in Tustin. On our campus, the 3 buildings, they're all within walkable distance, so there's not a drive between buildings. They're all just steps apart, everything's very close. But it's a phenomenal site, great group of talent there in Tustin. And last but not least, we've had a phenomenal regulatory track record there that we stand behind. We've had 043s in our last 4 FDA inspections.
27 years, that's a very long time in this industry. It's pretty much all of this industry, actually, when we look at biologics and biomanufacturing.
We're a pioneer in that space. Obviously, the company's kind of transpired over the years into a standalone fee-for-service organization, right? It started out as Peregrine as an innovator itself. But today, we're 100% fee-for-service. So there's no competing internal programs for capacity or priorities with our clients' programs.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to bring up, because I think it was 2.5 years ago now since Avid emerged as a pure play CDMO business and separated from Peregrine. I mean, obviously the translation is now complete, but how did that change, or how has this resonated with your clients and potential customers?
No, very well. I mean, they all know our history, right? We're publicly traded on NASDAQ as CDMO. So you can pretty much find everything about Avid out there in the public domain as far as those that we can disclose. But it's been very well received, you know, because a lot of customers that maybe work with CDMOs that have competing programs, that's their first question is, you know, how do I get priority over your internal programs, or how do you prioritize, or how do you schedule around your internal programs versus external programs?
And so, yeah, I mean, this transition is pretty much complete, as you're saying there. But there have been a few other changes at Avid over the past year, 18 months or so. Obviously, you've had a change in management. You yourself joined late last year, early this year, and you've had a change at the very top as well. Are these rejigs sign of a change of strategy at Avid, or further ambition, or is it just you refreshing yourself as a company?
I think it's just about growth, right? Every company goes through change in management, and every company goes through different stages of growth. And so with this next stage of growth, we're just taking a bit of a refresh on the management team and building that team for the next phase. And so much of the leadership we have in place now has really been strong contributors of growth in the CDMO space. And that's just where we're at today, you know, and we continue to expand our service offering or as far as capacities by expanding our Myford facility, which we can talk about a little bit later in the conversation.
Well, let's bring it up now. Yeah, the Myford facility has construction actually begun there? Can you enlighten us about what's going to be added and what sort of timelines we're looking at there?
Sure. Yeah, construction has not begun yet. We're in final design stage, looking at it internally and then looking externally with different engineering firms and whatnot. But we're looking to add about 12,000 liters of capacity, installed capacity to that Myford facility. So it's actually within the same building that we are currently manufacturing with our single-use bioreactors. And so we're going to leverage the current utilities that are already in place that we installed back in 2016 that will support this additional 12,000 liters of capacity. Our initial thoughts on that design are two 3-pack 2,000 liter lines, then with some supporting smaller 500 to 200 liter scale bioreactors. So it'll be quite an expansion. It will double our capacity, more than double our capacity. And again, all on the same campus. In this case, the expansion is within the same building.
And is this need for expansion, is this just testament to the huge demand for mammalian cell culture capacity that we're seeing in the industry, or is this projected demand over the next few years? What's really behind the thinking here of doubling your bioreactor capacity?
It's all of the above. You know, our current clients are moving through the development cycle, and they're going to need more product, and we're going to, you know, generate more capacity to support them, but also onboarding new customers and new programs that we haven't been engaged with, so that, you know, going back again to that market need for capacity, and specifically in the U.S.
Timothy, there's a couple of other interesting developments that are happening at Avid. One of them is a recent deal that you've made with Aragon, a sort of nearby CRO, to utilize their development services to offer to your clients. Can you talk us through the rationale behind teaming up with a CRO in this respect to offer development services?
Sure. Yeah. So the whole the genesis for that partnership was, you know, today we're getting a lot of requests from clients that are really early phase that haven't developed a cell line yet, and as you know, that's not a service that we provide internally at Avid, although we've leveraged our relationships to date with other cell line development partners, or loosely partners. And we really wanted to put something in place that we could point to as a true collaboration or partnership on the CLD side, because historically, you know, our clients go to these different CLD providers. Then once the cell line development, then they engage us, you know, to pick up from the process development, taken through pilot and GMP manufacturing. But by partnering early with a cell line developer, we can actually improve that timeline or decrease that timeline. Instead of starting out with the RCBs coming out of cell line development, we can start off earlier with you know, stable mini pools into our facility in the process development, so we shave off some time there. But more importantly, also working with them on the analytical methods that need to be transferred in between organizations. So by partnering with the CLD provider, we're engaging clients earlier in the process as opposed to a handoff after cell line development is complete.
And quite clearly, this is something that clients are asking. They want this whole kind of early development and almost end-to-end service from their third-party manufacturing partner. Is that the case?
Yeah, more often than not, the requests for proposals we get start, you know, on the early phase anyway. They start requesting CLD or cell line development, in some cases all the way through drug product. And so we also look to leverage our relationships on the drug product side to support our clients' needs on that end as well. So the two bookends being the cell line development and the drug product.
I'm curious to know your thoughts, Timothy, on whether you think a third-party manufacturer working in the biologics, biomanufacturing space needs to offer these auxiliary services, developmental services, in order to compete in what is a very competitive field.
You know, I don't think it's a requirement, but I think it does. You know, and what we've established these relationships, I think it does help the clients navigate. You know, especially on the earlier phase. The later phase product, you know, projects maybe not so much, but it helps our clients. It minimizes, you know, on the CLD, it minimizes contracts. They can leverage one contract for the CLD and the process development, GMP manufacturing. And we're already getting a lot of traction from the marketplace, and actively engaged with Eric and the team there on with some collaborations and partnerships.
And well, you talk about the growth of clients there. I believe you've also recently expanded your sales team. Is that just once again due to the surge in customers, or was this lacking in the past? Tell us about how you're managing the sales side.
Yeah, one of my first charters here at Avid was to really bring on a sales team, and a difficult time to do that, right? With in the middle of a pandemic. But nonetheless, we were able to secure two really professional business development associates or directors, Jason Brady and Sylvia Hines. And so they were, they came on in a difficult time. They started with us April 1st and April 6th, respectively. And so literally it's a virtual onboarding of them into Avid. But I can say that, they've been phenomenal here to start out. They're already bringing new opportunities to Avid. So again, it's really a part of our growth strategy, getting our message out there. I think when I talk to a lot of people about Avid, they're not aware of our services. They're not aware that we're a standalone service provider, not aware of our commercial background and history. The ability to take projects from early IND, pre-IND, all the way through commercial manufacturing.
So, yeah, I mean, there's a nice segue there to talk about COVID. Obviously, it's affected every element of life in pretty much every country here. First of all, I hope everyone at Avid is safe and well. But are you, from a business perspective, have you had to change your operations other than sort of these face-to-face, lack of face-to-face, but more teleworking and conference call discussions? But have you had to change your operations other than that? And at the same time, have you seen any opportunities from the COVID-19 crisis that Avid can capitalize on?
Yeah, it's a great question. Certainly there's been changes operationally on site, right? So those employees that can work remotely are now working remotely where they don't need to be on site. A lot of social distancing on site. Now we're also wearing masks on site. We have special protocols when we have a person in plant showing up for manufacturing, or even vendors showing up at site. On the business development side, there's been a lot of activity. We've been engaged with a lot of new opportunities here at Avid, both from potential COVID therapeutics to traditional therapeutics. I tell my team all the time, it's like even in the midst of this pandemic with COVID, cancer's not taking a break. These other unmet needs, their medical needs, are not taking a break, and they too still need capacity. And so we're actively involved in a lot of therapeutics, obviously outside of COVID. But in turn, again, back to the business development activities, a lot of virtual calls. All trade shows have been canceled or postponed to date. And quite frankly, we've had, I'm quite pleased with the activity that we're seeing in the sector, even despite not being able to put face-to-face and go see customers and have trade shows. They're all very actively engaged in virtual meetings, much like this. We've actually even had quality audits on site where we leverage professionals in and around Orange County, third parties that come on site for quality audits, and then a virtual audit for our potential customers to be on the line to review SOPs and such while the third parties are there doing the quality audit. So it's about being flexible in this time to meet the client's needs and still continue business.
That's really interesting, especially what you said there about amidst the flurry of deals that are COVID related, cancer doesn't get pushed aside, because we still have to tackle those disease areas as well. Timothy, I guess my final question here is, we've spoken about the expansion plans at the Myford facility, but what else is on the horizon for Avid over the next year or two?
For us, it's just focused on execution and growth, and filling the additional capacity that we're bringing online, and being here for our customers.
Fantastic. Well, look, I very much look forward to hearing more from Avid, and obviously reporting on you guys as well. And on that note, I'd just like to say thank you so much for joining me virtually and having this discussion.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it.
Thanks.